Yeah, aspiring, budding musician just about to go on our first professional tour. We had a rehearsal studio booked, a studio in London. Halfway through the rehearsal, I'm sitting by some very big monitor speakers, and the studio engineer, for some reason, played a massive feedback through one of these speakers, which literally blew me off my stool. End of my career, constant tinnitus, which I've still got 43 years later. But what stopped me playing was a condition called hyperacusis. So that was painfully loud for me. And that was it. Career over, age 19. I wanted to find out what was going on inside my head. I couldn't get any reaction from the medical profession then, because it was a long time ago. As I said, my doctor told me I should have got a quieter job. And I had to do something. I had to work. I wanted to find out about what's going on inside my head, and I kind of thought, well, audiology is a good route to learn about my ears and my head. So that's how I got into it. I came in through the kind of hearing aid audiology route, which is really focused more around dispensing commercial hearing aids. And I ended up doing work with premature babies and young school kids, profoundly deaf kids, which was really satisfying. But probably that was 1981, and probably 5 or 6 years later I came across the custom moulded musician's earplug, US device called an ER-15, made by a company based outside Chicago called Etymotic Research. That was my light bulb moment. That was great. At last, here's a product that musicians can use to protect their hearing and still play music. The big problem with conventional earplugs is you put them in your ears, you can't hear anything. You lose all the high frequencies. So as a musician, regular earplugs is a no-no. First off, I became a distributor, working with the Etymotic Master European Distributor, which is a Dutch company called ACS. I was their distributor, and then time scale I can't remember, but 3-4 years later we set up a joint venture company in the UK to develop and grow information about hearing conservation, get better quality products in the market. Yeah, so the in-ear monitoring side was really not by accident, but we started to make a good business and develop a reputation in the pro audio market for protecting musicians' ears. And out of the blue one day I got a call from a guy called Chris Lindop, who was the original in-ear monitor. I don't know whether he developed in-ear monitoring. He was the first guy to use in-ear monitoring in a pro audio environment. And he rang me. He's an English guy. He was comes from Liverpool in England. He was what we call a Scouser. Great guy. He was at the time he got started, he was working with Stevie Wonder as his monitor guy, and essentially the story that Chris told me was that Stevie had asked him he wanted to hear his mix better, he couldn't hear so good, so Chris got hold of an FM radio system and fed his mix through the FM transmitter into the receiver, and Stevie received it as his ears, and you know, the funny thing about that was you need never have paid to go to a Stevie Wonder gig, because you could have tuned in on the FM signal. So that's how he introduced. He was the original IEMITO guy, and I got a call from him really along the lines of you're the guy in England that looks after musicians' hearing. I've got a bit of a problem. Some of my artists that I use in my system are complaining about hearing damage. Can you come and talk to me and educate me a bit more about what's happening with these guys' ears? And that's how I kind of got into the ear monitoring thing, which was very early days. When I went to see Chris and his partner, who was the radio guy, a guy called Martin Noor, he just explained to me that the levels that were being played through the earbuds at the ear, which were basically Sony Walkman, I think they were maybe 15, 16 mil earbuds, big output, and they were just sticking them into a sort of customised hard acrylic ear holder. So no isolation, nothing. Basically picking up the wedge speaker, clamping it on the side of your head. And so we kind of said, if you're going to deliver signals into artists' ears, you need to do it safely. And the best way you can do that is to isolate them from as much ambient sound as possible. So that's kind of how I got going in the ears market. At that time, I was very interested in a lot of work that Michael Santucci from Sensophonics was doing. He kind of became a bit of a mentor for me. Yeah, I just wanted to stop what happened to me happening to other musicians, and researching there. This Mike stood out like a sore thumb as being a guy that was just focused on hearing conservation. So I took a lot of store from him, and used all my knowledge to that point to tell Garwood that you're going to have some problems if you screw Stevie Wonder's hearing. He'll sue you, and loss of earnings for Stevie Wonder ain't going to be cheap. So he asked me if I could make a safer earpiece, and because we were manufacturing our hearing protection in soft silicone, we used soft silicone as the medium, and we started using different small balanced armature speakers, and we ended up making a product that had really good isolation, was very soft and sounded great, and that's how we got into it.